How you doing? Funny thing happened to me. I won't get very specific because a lot of, well, just won't get too specific. But bottom line was, people act funny when, how do I put it? If you have a situation considered escalated, or a situation that happened with me, you know, I'm pretty much not yelling, but borderline to yelling and debate with somebody, and another party came, kind of interrupted, or broke us up in this heavy debate, and he was like, hey, why is this escalating the way it is? And at this point, it went from debating, arguing, to just I'm being enraged. It's kind of like a juggernaut thing, where once you get the ball rolling, it's going to take a fucking hard force to stop it. And what happens is, when you have a series of situations that line up, and kind of like the camel broke the straw the straw broke the camel's back type of situation. But I also summarize it with all these other factors. One of the factors was there was a level of complacency where I was at. So I took initiative to do something. However, I didn't do a good enough job in the eyes of this one particular person. Alright, so I didn't do a good job. But outside from being ridiculed, put down, pretty much being yelled at for not doing a good job, and I'm just realizing something. I took the initiative to do this thing. I took the initiative. Granted, it wasn't a good enough job, but I was the only one doing it. And this guy's shitting on me for it. If you talk to someone like an asshole, you created an asshole. And particularly with me, if you treat me like a kid, you got a 43-year-old, 16-year-old gonna fuck your day up. Potatoes in your exhaust pipe, that kind of shit. Yeah. You haven't seen me as a kid. I was a total little prick sore. But as a grown-ass man, and I'm being belittled, well, you know what? Fuck it. The funny part was, how I treat people. I'm very reactionary. It's almost predictable to a point, but I've got a better control over it because someone can actually set you up for fail if they know how to read you. So in this particular situation, it wasn't like that. But what it was a person who felt as though they had full reign of authority, or they had a full reign to basically treat you like shit and expect no recourse. So I turned around and verbally just ripped into his ass how I felt about it. And then I called him out on his bullshit, because if he's just yelling at me, where it was a collective of people who should be doing it as well, his focus is that. It's a focus. It's misguided. You should be going where the other so many people to help you. Instead, it was, you did a shitty job, and I was the only one doing it. So, at that point, the focus was still on me. I think two things are going to happen. Either we're just going to not talk to each other, or we're just going to have to hash shit out in the middle of a field. And I ain't talking violence. 85 pounds of snaggletooth ass almost whipped my ass last fucking time. Don't want to go through that. But I will go off and civilly debate this person one way, shape, form, or another, or just simply not talk to that fucker again. Now, Why do I feel aggressive? It's simple. The very thing that you conjure is the very thing that gets summoned. I'm using special words here, but they mean the same. If you talk to someone like an asshole, and they turn around and they just bite your head off like a fucking asshole, you brought it on yourself because you treated that person the way you wanted to hear from them. Another person, the guy who broke up my confrontation of the minds and will, I talked aggressively, but I never to him. It was more at him, because at this point I was a ball of fucking rage in dealing with this form of asshattery that I was dealing with. Now mind you, this is all about communication. This has nothing to do with a whole lot of other scopes of conflict. But with these things lined up, and the situation happened, the person got what they asked for. And the funnier part was the conversation didn't end after the separation. The other person came by who I was debating with and continued on his focus, on me. Because I wouldn't deal with the bullshit. I wouldn't deal with the confrontation, the belittlement. I would not deal with that kind of scope of a person, because if he talked to me that way in a bar, they would be in a fucking dumpster. Not promoting violence, just facts of life. If someone arbitrarily, regardless of your situation, treats you like shit, beating their ass is quite common. And the bar scenario is the best scenario metaphor. I'll give you a good example and more specific. I was freelancing audiovisual as an audiovisual technician for the Ritz-Carlton. So I was doing a show at the Ritz-Carlton Beach. They hired extra security, outsourced it, and so this little whack and hut guy came up to me, and an older fellow, had his badge on and his little uniform, and I didn't drive in. The actual director of audiovisual did, and he was also my mentor, who actually kind of helped me be a little bit more professional in my field. Because when I first started with a guy, I looked like a fucking pirate. But believe it or not, this look with a polo shirt, I work at the Ritz-Carlton. So little deputy dog comes up to me. He's a retiree, but he had a little swagger. Some old dude swaggering on my ass. And I'm going, can I help you? You need to do this, you need to do that, and you're going to have to do this. So I sized him up. You don't have a gun, and you're not bigger than me. Unless you can kick my ass, good fucking luck. Just like that. My director ran from wherever he was. I felt a hand on my chest, and that little fucker got pushed away. Not that I was looking for a fight, but I told him what's going to require him to do to make me do anything what he said. So he apologized to him, told him to shut the fuck up as well, and then when we were driving on our, what's called a mule, it's a four-wheel ATV machine type thing. It's a farm truck, but they use it on the beach. He looked at me and goes, "You can't talk to people like that, Ron." And I said, "This is the Ritz-Carlton, right?" He goes, "Yeah." Now if this was a bar and I'm hanging out with my buddies, and this asshole talked to me that way, he'll be found in a dumpster. Why is the placement of a person any different from a biker bar to the Ritz-Carlton? What makes it a difference? The guy's being an asshole to me, I'll lay him the fuck out. Point taken, and it was never discussed again. In fact, he couldn't argue me with the facts. The guy was being a dick. He was going to get pummeled. He stopped the pummeling before it happened, and he couldn't further justify the fact of what he was trying not, have me not do. And I wasn't going to beat the guy up, but I did tell him what it was going to require for him to do, have me comply to his wishes. But that was the whole point. If people talk to you in a manner where, just like I said, in your mind, no matter where you're at physically, will that person talk to you if you were in a bar setting? Will they talk to you if they were in a situation of need, if they had a flat tire and you're helping them? Will they treat you like an asshole? And if the answer is yes, then you simply, you remedy it in your head from those other situations. How are you going to act now? So when a person comes over, again, I took the initiative to do something on my own because that's what I do. I've been like that for a while. In fact, when you take initiative enough times, people actually call for you to do stuff for them. It happens. People want me to speak for them. It happens. People want me to represent them sometimes. It happens. I just have a mouth and half a brain. So when a person comes up and confronts me, belittles me in front of, I say 30, 40 people, figuratively speaking, and doesn't see the full scope of what's going on or what he's missed and still wants to dump on me, I didn't take it lightly. And I think one of my quotes was, "I'm sorry, I'm not in the habit of wiping other people's asses when they shit." That didn't help matters either. But again, if you take an initiative to do something and you didn't do a good job, the other avenue of communication was, could you do it again and maybe better? At that point, it probably would have been a mute conversation, unless I became the asshole. But instead, the tyrannical tirade of a person who approached me in the manner that he did received a counter bellowing, if you would. And it was this bellowing that got another person involved real nervous. Don't know why. I haven't had a conflict of a physical nature in a long time. I'm not 12% body fat anymore either. But again, if you heard, I guess our argument was a big enough impact to get a lot of people nervous, because when I turned around after, those 30, 40 people weren't even around. They gone. Now again, I'm not being specific here. But when you confront people in general, it doesn't matter what they are, what shape, size, how they look. If something's fucked up, how you convey it being fucked up will also convey the rebuttal you receive. And that goes kind of it's a general synopsis I came up with, not just about me, but if you treat a situation like an asshole, you'll get assholes returning the conversation to you. If you strategically position yourself by saying, "Nice try, here's the instrument that you used before, try it one more time," you failed. Then you just do a better job. But again, the situation was a little bit more expanded, as I mentioned. I was the only person who, took the initiative to do an activity, and there were about maybe 3 or 4 other people that could have, but didn't. In fact, in the middle of our eyebrowing each other, or browbeating each other, that's when people came out of the woodwork and started doing what I was doing. So maybe being an asshole in response motivated other people to do shit. Who knows? But it's the weekend. Calm, cool, and collective. As they say, tomorrow's another day. It's always a new start. But this isn't the first time we've had a conversation that brought people either away from the situation or brought people close to the situation to prevent a further escalation of whatever. So, it was an interesting week. But I'm not letting it get to me. You know, I think there's a lot more going on than what meets the eye or what's in face value. But I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm going to still do what I do and continue on. But I think how I'm going to handle it when I bump into that person again, it's not to bump into them, just to keep going on my path, do what I'm doing, and do what I have to do to get through what I'm going, you know, just to move on, but to basically avoid any form of contact. I figure for this one reason only. Not a comeuppance. It's not a one-uppance. It's not to belittle that person. I figure if they've initiated something before and they want to make it right, they should initiate it again to correct it. This is how I feel. But hopefully the summary gives you a perspective about things. Because, again, it doesn't matter where you're at, where your place is at, whether you're a boss, whatever it is. If you talk to someone in the environment you're in now in a negative or derogatory manner, and you find yourself now in a, like say, a biker bar, would you address that person the same way? If you were at this other establishment, like a bingo parlor, would you talk to that person the same way? If you were in any other environment than where you're at, where you're neutral ground or even powerless, would you approach that person the same way? And then when you think about it, how would you want them to respond into all those different avenues of communication? How would you want to be responded to, or how you want the response to be to you back? You know, that's the problem. My family can tell you this too. I didn't take an ass chewing that good either. There you have it. In fact, yeah, I think since the age of 14, pushing matches were common. So, there you have it. Maybe it's two types of A-type personalities bumping heads. Who knows? But what I do know is, when I get pissed off at people, or something's fucked up, I just tell it how it is. But I don't drill it further than what it is. I don't make a mountain out of a molehill. I just say it, I communicate it, I point it, give them a chance to correct it and rectify it. I don't go on. I don't put them down. But when people do that to me, there's a side of me that not many people see. And this guy saw it twice. Don't know what's going to happen the third time. But we'll see. Anyways, hopefully my life experience might help you in yours. Take care. Bye for now.